Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Welcome to the meeting of Handforth Town Council, Tuesday the 10th of May, Handforth Youth Centre. Again, I'd like to pass my thanks on to those who've nominated and voted for me to remain as chair. I appreciate it. Item 22.12.1, to receive apologies for absence. Full deck, so no apologies. 22.12.2, to note declarations of interest and requests for dispensation to discuss and vote on a matter in which a member or co-opted member has a disclosable pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest. Do any members have any pecuniary interest? No. No, none. Thank you. Item 22.12.3, open forum. Comments and questions concerning items on this agenda may be put to the council by the public during this period. Matters which, in the chairman's view, require debate and/or a discussion will be referred to the next committee or council meeting as appropriate. Items not pertaining to the agenda may also be taken at this time at the chairman's discretion. The public forum is restricted to 15 minutes and strictly 3 minutes per person unless the chairman allows otherwise. Members of the public, ask. Good evening.
Is that working? Hello?
Yes. If we just ask that you can make sure that you keep it close to your mouth. It needs that.
Yeah, okay, thanks very much. My name is that coming through? No, hello? Hello? No? Hello? I don't. No? Oh, yes, that sounds. Well done. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, does that come off my 3 minutes? Because I can't imagine. Yes, I'm Will McCallum, the Chief Officer of the Citizen Advice Cheshire North, which most people will know as Citizen Advice Bureau. I'm here really to hopefully try and reintroduce our service back into Handforth after the enforced absence due to COVID. Along with most organisations, when COVID hit, we reduced our services to remote. So that was telephone, email, and web chat. So the face-to-face service that we used to operate in Handforth, which was on a Thursday afternoon from the health centre, we had to suspend that. Now we're looking to reintroduce all our face-to-face services across the towns and places that we operate out of. And I thought it was an opportunity for us to consider what was best for the town, the where and the when, really. And if the council are interested to have an understanding of the work that we do, I'm happy to give a breakdown of that. But I'm also conscious of time. So really what I'm here to do is to ask the question regarding what does the council think around the place and the timings for the service that we operate. The service that we were delivering prior to COVID, as I said, was operating outside of the health centre. And that afforded us a confidential room where we could see clients one-to-one and a confidential waiting area. Prior to that, we had considered the library, but at that time, there wasn't a room that was suitable, that was available. And whilst we're looking at and planning for the reintroduction of the service to Handforth, what I thought was it would be useful for us to come and speak to the councillors, because you have greater contact with more people from the town, although a number of people from Handforth do access our services anyhow. And so really a question that could be considered now, or maybe something that considered away from the meeting and maybe fed back to me remotely, or in any other way that the council sees fit. but just an opinion on where you think, when and where our service should be delivered.
Thank you. That explains it. Did you say that it was within the health centre?
Yeah, we started when it was the health centre separate from the GP surgery, and then while we were there, the GP surgery took over the building, but still permitted us to carry on to work from there. So yeah, how it's configured in the last 2 years, I really don't know, but that was the arrangement. So it was the health centre when we were there, and then during our time there, GPs took over the whole of the building, but we were permitted to continue to carry on working from there. Yeah.
So is that facility still available?
It may well be. I don't know. Before I start brokering those kind of things, because I was aware that the numbers of people that we had accessing our service at that time, I felt could and should have been higher. It was a little bit difficult to get to us, because you have to go through a door. You need to be permitted to go through, and you have to work your way down. And for some people, it may have been a few doors too many. That venue may be open to us, but what I'm looking for is a little bit of local knowledge, to be honest, and an opinion around timings and venue.
Councillor Smith.
Hello. Thank you. I think it's a brilliant idea, and it's much needed in Handforth. I think the library is probably your best bet. There is a room available there now. I hold my surgeries there, so it is a private room. And I agree with you that it was actually the clinic where you were. The GPs have now taken it over. And they're using the rooms as consulting rooms and therapy rooms. But I agree that it probably was a few doors too many that did put people off. I'd be very interested in talking to you about it. I'm the local Cheshire East ward councillor as well. So, yeah, I'd like to have a conversation with you. But thank you. Thanks for coming.
Yes, I agree that it is needed in Handforth. However, would you be looking for funding from the town council?
My purpose wasn't to look at funding. We provided a service prior to COVID, and we've been providing it for a number of years, and that wasn't with additional funding from Handforth, so that isn't the purpose of my visit. No, my purpose is to pick your brains. If there was a service more expansive than one that we were able to offer then, and that was something that the council were interested in, then we could do a feasibility study around need and so on. But no, that's not my purpose being here today, not at all, no.
Can I speak to?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, Will. I'm Rubia. Thank you for coming on and speaking to us today. I was going to recommend the library as well. And another thing I wanted to add on there is that on Tuesday they open until late. I didn't quite jot down what times you were proposing to be open, but on Tuesdays they open until 6 o'clock in the evening. So if you were looking for session at the library, you will have those times to kind of select between if you wanted to do evenings. And like I said, I would agree library is the best place. That's where all things seem to happen and all communities are aware of it. And quite a lot of vulnerable people visit there. So if they need help, they can easily access you because you'll be there.
I appreciate that. Thanks very much. One of the things I was looking for guidance on as well was the time and the day. And if you like, then I take that away and try and make it work. Out of hour sessions is something that we've done in other places, which sometimes they work, sometimes people who it's more about convenience than need. But an out of hour service is something we would look at as well. So yeah, thanks very much.
Yes, I was going to say it's possible that within the next few months that the council will have more control over this building, and might, yes, and we don't at the moment. It's a youth centre which is owned by Cheshire East and run by Cheshire East. It's possible that there might be facilities available if the library, if you wanted to do it on a day that unfortunately the library is shut, or there's changes in what you wish to do. It's possible that there might be facilities here that might be able to be used. I can't guarantee it, but we're hopeful, hopefully.
Can I just ask, what was the sort of footfall, the average footfall at the clinic?
Well,
You used to do them Wednesday afternoons, wasn't
I thought it was Thursday afternoons, but it was
No,
2
only
years.
Wednesday.
My,
I
my,
work
my,
next
my,
door.
my brain cells are
Yeah.
dying by the thousands. Yeah. It was an open door session. So that means it was drop-in, so it wasn't appointment, so we couldn't manage the numbers of people that came. But I would say that we were looking at maybe 3 to 4, something like that. Something that, and one of the things that further prompted me to want to speak to you was when I look at the numbers of people that have accessed our service, say over the last 5 months from the SK93 postcodes. It's a lot more than that. So I can't help thinking that there were people, as you're suggesting yourself, that weren't accessing that service because it wasn't the easiest one to access. So it was somewhere like 3 or 4 in the 3-hour period that we were there. But I can't help thinking that the need, if not the demand, is greater.
Okay, thank you for that. I think you've got your 3 minutes worth at least. Yes. And thank you for coming. Mrs. Walsh. Well, yeah, I'd like to push that to the actual agenda item, if you don't mind, and we can certainly ask the same question then, and we'll respond to it then if you don't mind. Okay. Any more questions from the public? Oh, thank you. Next item, to approve and sign the minutes of the Town Council meeting of the 12th of April. Does anyone have any comments or issues with the minutes? None? None? Can I have a proposal to accept? Thank you. Second? Councillor? Those in favour to accept? Unanimous, thank you.
Can I just point out, Councillor Nisa wasn't here at the meeting, so she can't vote.
Next item, 22.12.5, to approve and sign the minutes of the Hanford Town Council Finance Committee meeting of the 12th of April. Anybody have any issues with the Finance Committee meeting? None? Yeah, understood. Yeah. Can I have a proposal to accept, please? Second, thank you. Those in favour to accept the minutes? Unanimous, thank you. 22.12.6, to receive a report from the PCSO. Councillor Smith in his absence.
I have to say, if I have to give any more police reports, I want my own uniform. Very brief from Gareth. There's been 1 attempted burglary, 1 actual burglary, and 5 reports of suspicious activity. We've had a higher than usual report, or we've had higher than usual reports of dog bites and dangerous dogs. Fortunately, none of these reports has involved a dog biting a person. 17 reports of concern for safety involving mental health or alcohol. This again is higher than usual, and due to 3 regulars struggling at the moment, this has created a lot of demand and has been very time consuming for Gareth and Matthew. They're currently trying to get their summer plan in place in relation to youth engagement and patrols. They're planning on activities in Meriton Road Park and Stanley Hall Park, as well as Coleshaw. Which involves inviting any children from the community to come along and play sports or activities, and been very popular. So, and that's it from Gareth.
Thank you. Item 22.12.7, to approve and sign the order of payments for May 2022. Does anybody have any issues with the order of payments for May? No, just checking. Okay, can a proposal? Councillor Moore. Second. Thank you. Those in favour? Unanimous. Item 22.12.8, to receive a report from Cheshire East Councillor Julie Smith.
Thank you, Chair. I started the month dressed as the Easter Bunny for a community event on Coleshaw Estate organised by CETRA, the Residents Association. I also visited 2 of the hand-forced scarecrow displays as the Easter Bunny. On Bank Holiday Monday, myself and Councillor John Smith visited the Oakenclough Centre on Coleshaw, where Transition Wilmslow were holding an open day in the market garden, and where we discovered that worm charming was actually a thing. On the 25th of April, we held another successful skip day, this time on Knoll Park. These events are very popular with the residents, and I believe instances of fly tipping have been reduced as a result. Hopefully, we can continue to do them going forward. I've been informed that the installation of the Handforth to Wilmslow cycle path has been delayed. However, it's hoped that it will take place following receipt of the next tranche of the government's active travel grant. This week, I'm expecting to be given a date when the slow road markings on Station Road will be redone. On the 27th of April, I attended the Cheshire East Full Council meeting, where Council voted on the community governance recommendations made by the subcommittee. I am pleased to report that I voted in accordance with the wishes of our residents, and as a result, Handforth will remain independent of Wilmslow, and we can continue to support and strengthen our wonderful community. I've been informed that Network Rail have agreed to clean and repaint the footbridge over the railway from Old Road to Church Road within the next 6 to 8 months. As part of Foster Care Fortnight, I will be joining the team from Cheshire East at their event in the paddock tomorrow from 10 o'clock till 3 o'clock, speaking to anyone interested in becoming a foster carer. Janet Taylor, on behalf of Junior Youth Club, has applied to Tesco for a grant in order to renovate the courtyard at the youth centre, this scruffy area out here. The project will involve removing all the debris and installing planters and hanging baskets, and it's planned that the members of all 3 youth clubs will be involved, with PCSO Gareth and his colleagues helping with the heavy lifting. I'm also hoping to involve some of the always active group members, so this can be a fully inclusive project integrating the young and elderly in our community. A couple of months ago, at a licensing committee meeting, I raised a query around school transport, specifically taxis, and whether there is a more cost-effective way of providing transport to schools. Following a Freedom of Information request, we discovered that Cheshire East spend £231,959.67 per week to transport 887 pupils to and from schools in the borough. A number of these children are pupils at schools which provide education for those with special educational needs, and I want to make it clear that my interest in finding a more economical solution is in no way an attack on either the children nor the parents of these children. I simply think that any money saved could be better spent providing more desperately needed resources for these children. Apparently, this issue will be on the agenda for the May meeting of the Children and Families Committee to review. In addition to the above, I have also dealt with reporting potholes, having fallen trees removed, writing letters to assist residents to find alternative properties, having traffic lights resynchronised, pelican crossing audible signals increased, graffiti removed, volunteering at all 3 youth clubs, and a Saturday morning spent cleaning signs and litter picking at the station. That's my report.
Please.
Councillor Smith, when is the cycle path going to be operational?
Thank you very much.
Could I just ask a
I beg your pardon, sorry, Sam.
Thank you very much, Councillor Smith. That's great work again. Out of interest, are you able to tell us which way our other ward councillor voted on the governance question, or is that confidential?
No, it was a public meeting. He voted for the against the recommendations of the subcommittee.
So for merging with Wilmslow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
but
clear.
that's always been his stance anyway.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you both. 22-12-9 to review and agree any received Queen's Platinum Jubilee Award applications. We have had one come in late to the party, which I would consider it's within the means of the council to make a grant to this. We've gone over the budget by £50. Given that this is a part of the community, I believe that we should assist with the grant so that they can also join in the Queen's Jubilee celebrations. Does anyone have any comments?
I can just assume, just from the timing, that this is the last application we can possibly receive.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
More comments?
I'm trying to understand how it would impact us going over the budget. What implications do they have?
What we would do is we can move it from our grant budget line. So that area of the budget where we would normally issue grants from, this isn't a grant, this was awards really. So we would take the 300 from the grants pot.
Okay, so there shouldn't be any issue with the audits or whenever all that
No,
happens?
not at all.
Thank you. Thanks for clarifying.
Councillor Neeson, I'd already checked that out with the clerk before it went on the agenda, so we knew that we had sufficient funds, and it was only a delay because the poor lady didn't even know we were offering it. It was by word of mouth that someone told us so.
Thank you for clarifying. Is she aware of the Cheshire East one? I don't know what the deadline for that one is, but if there's any more, maybe we can direct them to the Cheshire East. Is there deadline? Is it closed?
Close.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, can I have a proposal to accept the grant as it's issued? 300. Thank you. Second. Thank you. Those in favour? Thank you.
Can I just ask, Chair, if the clerk could prepare the cheque and we can get it signed in order for them to be
Yes.
able to... Please. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, 22-12-10. Motion to create a Friends of Handforth Parks group to monitor and review all aspects of all Handforth Parks, whose activities will include, but not be limited to, fundraising for all of Handforth Parks. I brought this motion forward on behalf of Janet Taylor about 18 months ago, following some discussions with George Broughton, who's the head of Cheshire East Parks, Ruth Morgan from ANSA, Sue Moore, Janet, and myself. We had a meeting at Stanley Hall Park, and they were in favour. And I'd like Janet Taylor to bring forward what she was going to discuss. Yeah, I'd just like to point out, yes, there was 5 parks. We've now got 6 when you take into account the anvil, because there's three out of the 5 parks currently, or the 5 parks that were, only 2 had friends groups. 3 parks were left to their own devices with no one to actually take their corner. So now that we've got 6 parks used by 6 lots of different children and their families, I agree with what's said there, that there is an opportunity to have more of a voice, exactly, and to put some pressure on Cheshire East, because these 6 parks affect a lot of people. So again, getting it out via the parents, via the parks, to try and get them to put pressure on the Cheshire East. Roger. Okay, thanks. Mrs. Walsh, you had a question? I'd suggest not councillors, but we would have one councillor who is lead on parks and open spaces, which would be Councillor Moore. Which that's the only extent of control that aspect, not control, but input would be required, because it's these are friends groups. They're not councillors, and they're the ones who know their parks better. I don't think that is what Janet does. Can, can, Okay, yeah, can I just make a point about you mentioned when we first discussing it that these groups will be under this committee. I don't see it as being under anybody. It will just have the facility to be part of a larger group with the same voice as anyone else in that group. So it's not that there will be a Sue's gang sitting over the top of everything that's going on. It will purely be a larger group with a little bit more clout and perhaps more, let's say, households willing to put their letters to Cheshire East to say, we want this for our park. We've put the grant in, why can't we have it? We pay our council tax. So that's how I see it, not as that there will be someone sitting above. It certainly wouldn't be that situation.
The summary from Cheshire East that say that at the moment there is no other funding for Meriton Road Park. This is from Answer from Cheshire East. However, we shouldn't let that stop us. If you are interested in helping us fundraise for the park, please get in touch. All the other projects on the master plan require funding from external funding bodies. There is no money at Cheshire East. There is Section 106 money, but it's for very, very specific projects, and it can't be diverted. I've tried. Yeah. So there is no funding at Cheshire East. No, I had an email yesterday from Ruth Morgan telling me Answer do not have a budget. And George Broughton is leaving imminently, and his replacement hasn't been named yet. But as soon as he is, I will be talking to him about money from Cheshire East.
And they have to have a budget because they do etc.
Answer don't have a budget.
So
that comes from Cheshire East.
We know that they're wholly owned by Cheshire East.
Yeah.
They do have a year.
Cheshire East pay for that work.
How else can we know? It all seems a bit of a minefield.
I know. Tell me. I know. I'm on your side. Trust me.
As I say, as friends of Meriton Road Park, and I'm speaking as chair of friends of Meriton Road, I've been authorised to say this. Unless it really is going to be advantageous, all the groups, ours, we can't see any reason here that might muddy the waters. And going back to what Councillor Smith Johnson said after the town, he told me last week, if you get too many people involved, it's quite often more difficult.
We need more people involved, though. We need more volunteers. We need more members of the community. I belong to a group on Meriton Road Park and Hampson Crescent, and there's lots of people on there that want to get involved. Lots of people that want to get involved in Meriton Road Park.
Oh, yeah, there are lots of people, but I have to say, and this is speaking for, this is my 50th year in voluntary work. And you get to know what people will do and go through, and I'm sure you can all appreciate it because you've all been there. Many hundreds of people say we would like this, we would like that, but when it comes down to it, it's the same few people in the groups that are actually getting the work done. But we do go out as a group, as you know, and we go in the park, we go in the paddock, and we do surveys to find out what the people want. And the result of those passed over to Cheshire East and Answer, and this is how we formed the 5-year plan. And as we've already got the 5-year plan, as you know, we do have the Rotary Oil on board now. They're doing more hands-on things in the park as well as raising money for future projects. Really, as a group, we obviously want to make evidence as a group because we work well together. We have excellent relationship, all the other agencies, and we feel, and I'm sure you'll appreciate it, Janet will appreciate it, a lot of hard work that goes on behind closed doors that a lot of members don't see. It's very time consuming, and I think to start needing to go to other meetings.
I don't think that's what you're proposing, though, is it? Yeah. But it would just be one group, presumably, with one constitution for the whole group. Yeah.
Just
We have lots of people who come on about the same. As we exactly. So if we can join forces, bring more people in, younger, fitter, they can help us with these jobs. How do we do something? I'm not saying it would be anything, I'm just questioning whether it would be an advantage to all groups. Because as you know, Hamford what between their park or their playground or their will do so. I think we will get lots more people that want to work.
Can I just jump in here, please?
Can I
just pick you up on something you said before about lots of people wanting to help, and then when you ask, that's not true. There's been a sea change in Handforth. The last litter pick I arranged, 70 people came out to volunteer. Yeah, 70 people.
Totally agree there.
Yeah.
But the point was trying to make was that there's a lot of work. Yes, they'll come out and do a litter pick on that day, and that's absolutely brilliant. But when it comes to giving more time and getting more,
It will.
any time consuming, we'll come to an event, as you know, literally 1,000 people. It's all cut and dry.
May I jump in here, please? I think in many ways you're missing the point here. We're not trying to usurp what you do. What we're trying to do is to get an overall strategy for the whole village. Because let's face it, these parks don't belong to your group or any other group. They belong to the community. And my vision is to have everything linked together so that we can get a fair play between all the parks. I mean, poor old Parsonage Park gets absolutely nothing at all. And that's because there's nobody speaking up for it. But apart from the parks, there are a couple of big green spaces that should be added into all of that. So I don't think you're looking at it from the right point of view. I think you would obviously still be your group, and but we would have an umbrella group that can take on all of these things, they applying for grants and everything else, and look at the overall picture. And from my point of view, the parks are an area where we can develop all sorts of things in terms of biodiversity. And that is my big interest in all of this. Everything else is also important, but the biodiversity of these parks is absolutely critical. We've lost 97% of our wild meadows over the last few years, and the same equal number in insects. And if we don't do something about redressing the balance of all of this, we are going to have a crisis in our hands that we will not be able to manage. Now, we can't alter the world, but we can influence those areas in our in Hanforth, and those are our parks and our green spaces. And that's how I'm looking at this, to have a team of people who will take it on, look at it all, help people out, apply for grants, help Meriton Road Park, help Stanley Hall Park, and work it all together for the good of all the residents in Hanforth. Okay.
But yes, but what that's what we're saying we should do. We're not saying that the council will do it. The council may enable residents of Hanforth to do it. I don't think we're going to get any further, though, reading between what's
Chair,
been
can
said.
I
Please,
just jump
yes.
in, please? Thank you for coming along. Very interesting debate, and I get both sides of the views. And I'm not going to comment on any of those, but actually my point is, why are we bringing this to Hertford Town Council meeting? I don't understand the purpose of it. I understand we're going to have an arm length support with it, but it's for the residents to decide and set up this group. So for us to have it on the agenda, I don't really see the point of it. It should be discussed outside this meeting with those that are interested, and then if they want to apply for funding or if the group is set up, then it should come to it. But as it is, I don't understand it.
Yes, I brought it to the council on behalf of a member of the public who wanted to do something that two members of the council, two members of Cheshire East, and someone from ANSA had a discussion about 18 months ago, which was to look at having an overarching friends group, if you like, not to take over individual parks, but to have one voice in Hanforth, so that when we're talking to George Broughton or his replacement, then we've got somebody who understands that we're not looking at it just for Stanley Hall Park, we're looking at it for all parks. It might just be a small item, like on the Henbury Road Park. Some kids have burned some of the rubber surfaces. It might need repairing. That sort of thing. No one looks after that park at the moment. So we brought it to the council because there will be an arm's length council touch and involvement, because it helps to have the council involved in what's happening. Hopefully, we will be able to bring more pressure to bear for getting money out of Cheshire East. So the fact that the council is getting involved is the same way that it will get involved in anything, such as the Remembrance Sunday. It's not a council function, but it gets involved. That's why we do it.
I get that, but what I mean is this is initial stages of setting possibly this group up, and it's not our responsibility. Like we said, we're not going to set that up.
No, we're not.
And I think it's for the residents to decide that between themselves,
Yes.
and all interested parties to get together away from this meeting. And if the proposal is that there is going to be a Parks Friends Hemforth just trying to read it, Friends of Hemforth Parks group, then is for the parties to agree. And if they agree to have that, then by all means bring it and ask us for support. But I feel like we are fighting a one-sided debate, because it seems like, some of you guys are in agreement and they're not in agreement. And, I don't really want to comment on it right now, but it feels like that is just one-sided debate right now. I think it's for them to agree if they want a Friends of Hemforth Park group, and then to bring it to us for support. I think that's my view on this.
think I'm perfectly happy for this conversation to be facilitated here. And I think from what's been said, the increased coordination and kind of weight and impact that's been outlined could only be a good thing. I appreciate, Mrs. Walsh, the point, the kind of concern you raised there about kind of the work that Friends of Meriton Park have done in the past and how that might be affected by this. So I think it's really important for this kind of committee that it would be made up of the right group of people. It sounds like there's a lot of people who have a lot of interest, which is absolutely great, but clearly it would need to, the committee making the decisions about how about kind of various matters would need to have input from people across the committee. So the question really is how would that committee be selected, please? Do we have an idea about that?
Thank you, Councillor Wood. What I'd like to say is that we're not going to get any agreement here, but if I can request, if Janet, you could do a one-pager of how you see it operating, pass it to Ashley, to Mrs. Walsh, and put it on the Facebook page, just so that everyone can see that this is what's proposed. And if there isn't a willingness to go forward with it, then we have to look at it differently. Is that acceptable, Mrs. Walsh? That's because the meeting was in Stanley Hall Park to look at the path that we've not got money to finish. A Pan Handforth group. Is that it? What? No. No. Well, who should do the one pager? But, yeah, but the nitty gritty won't get sorted out by the first meeting. All I'm looking for is what the proposal is, and certainly to get your view as chair of Friends of Meriton Road Park, and then we take it further from there to see if we can get agreement. I don't think we're going to get anything more here this evening. Well, which is what I've asked. George Broughton's originally was. George Broughton mentioned it. Yeah. Okay, I need to draw this to a close, I'm afraid.
Can I just say, if we're going
no,
to have
well-
something on our website or on our social medias, I would like to have a view of it before it goes on, because I feel like as a council, we need to come across as independent, and it needs to make clear that it's from a resident that is coming across, just so we don't upset other people, because we present everybody in Hemforth, and it seems like some people might be upset by this idea.
We don't need to do that, because there is our monitor of what goes on the website to see if it is fit. We don't need to check it.
I would still like to see it before it goes on our.
No, it's not necessary. It's not necessary. There's lots of stuff that goes on the website that then gets shared on Facebook pages, because then it gets out to the most people. And I don't think there's a requirement to delay things by just having it go through 7 different councillors. It's not necessary.
I disagree. I feel like this is going to turn into a huge issue, and I feel like we need to kind of monitor it, because it seems like there are different feelings even in this room.
That's right.
So
but
I think we need to be very careful.
That's it.
It is, and that's what I'm saying.
Sorry, we don't.
That's why we need to make sure that everybody's getting a fair chance to have their voice heard, and not
Everyone
just be
will.
one-sided arguments.
Which I just said. Janet will put a one-pager together and put it to the interested parties. That doesn't need to be sanctioned or inspected or gone through. So I'm closing the item now. If you can, one moment, please. All I'm asking is that Janet puts a one-pager together, puts it to Ashley, who can spread it around the council, and Mrs. Walsh, and that's all I'm asking. And then you can consider it. Then you can consider it. Then you can consider it and decide if you're interested or not. I think that's as far as we can go, isn't it? You don't know what's on the page yet. Yes, it's an initial. That's what. Sorry, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry. That's. Well, if it is, you can throw it back at her and say this is misleading, just before it's published. So it will go to those people concerned. And then if you decide that it's something that you want to do, then we go ahead. If it's not something you don't want to do, then you won't go ahead. That's all I can say. And no, I haven't. No. I don't have a time scale. Right. When there's a time scale, you'll be one of the first to get it. There isn't one now. We're going to move on to the next item, ladies. We're going to move on to the next item. Otherwise, it's 20 to 9 now. We've got another meeting to go through, and we need to have time to do that. Yes. We can only go till 9 o'clock, so we'll have to move on. To receive a report from Councillor Smith following the CC vote. I was going to, because there's a number of people who were at the last the town meeting where I put forward as part of my report the governance review. I'm going to push that to the next meeting because it's a full page. I'm not going to go through it now, and it's just to make sure that there is a record on the town council site of what that report was, as the meeting wasn't recorded. So I will push that to the next meeting and make it good on there.
Can I have a copy of that, and can I ask you to circulate it to all councillors before the next meeting?
It's on the website. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't.
Yeah.
I find our website.
Okay. Okay, next item, 22/12/12, to receive notices and correspondence. Anything received, Ashley? No. Okay. To be
How
taken the first.
important is it for us to have a rep?
And 22/12/13, to agree the date of the next HTC meeting to be held on the 14th of June. Yes. And I'd like, if we can, Sue, to go straight. Yes, the meeting closed at 20:42. If we can go straight into the planning meeting. Sue.
So am I okay to start? Yeah. Okay. Welcome to Handful Town Council Planning Committee. There's no need to go through the evacuating the premises. We're all here. We've all heard it. So item 22/13/1, to receive apologies for absence. There are none. There are no absences. Item 22/13/2, to note declarations of interest and requests for dispensation to discuss and vote on a matter in which a member or co-opted member has a disclosable pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest. Does that apply to any councillors here? Okay, thank you. Item 22.13.3, the open forum questions concerning items on the agenda can be put to the Council by the public during this period. Matters which in the Chairman's review require debate and or a discussion will be referred to the next committee or Council meeting as appropriate. The public forum is restricted to 15 minutes unless the Chairman allows otherwise. Do I have any comments from members of the public? No. Okay. Item 22.13.4, to approve and sign the minutes of the Planning Committee meeting of the 12th of April 22. Does anybody have a problem with any of the minutes? Nope. May I have a proposer to accept and a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Smith. Thank you, Councillor Sullivan. And a vote, please, to accept those. In favour? Thank you. Item 22.13.5, to elect a vice chair to the Town Council's Planning Committee.
I'd like to. Oh, sorry. I'm keen to get involved and pull my weight, so I'd like to propose myself, if that's the appropriate way of going about.
Okay. Do we have a seconder for that? Okay. Anybody else like to put themselves forward as? Okay, so we have. Right. So can we take a vote on that then, please? Those in favour? Thank you. Thank you very much. Right, so on to the planning applications. 22.13.6. To consider the planning application 22.1399M, a proposed double-storey rear extension, including the demolition of the existing garage and proposed new gable dormer to front elevation, 5 Woodlands Road, Hamforth. Comments from councillors, please. Yes? Yeah. Any comments? No, the same kind of footprint. Okay. So can we have a proposer to endorse this? Thank you, Councillor Sullivan. And seconder, Councillor Smith. Thank you. A vote in favour. Okay, item 22.13.7. To consider the planning application 22.1397M, the construction of one new terraced house, full planning application for 17 Pickmere Road, Hamforth. Comments from councillors, please.
Yes, the area where they're proposing this house is right on the corner. Sorry, member. Yes, the house is right on the corner of Pickmere Road, and it's the space that it's going to occupy is a garden. And I believe that on the portal it shows that there is no planning permission, but they've actually started. They dug the footings. So it's too, I'm going to put it, it will have a major impact on the parking in that area. I've not seen any maps which show extra parking being built on the site. Right, I couldn't get on that. Right.
Where the garden sits on the corner, it looks like they've got like 2 allocated spaces towards the back.
Right.
So just building.
Yes, it's overdevelopment. Is what it is. It's unnecessary. If we were to allow this, take into account that they've actually done the footings already without permission, that it will encourage copycats all over the estate, well, all over Hamforth, I suppose, because I don't believe it's appropriate.
One thing that, yes, you're quite right, there is planning for 2 car parking spaces, but having driven round the estate on quite a number of occasions, it is poorly served for parking, as we well know. But another thing that I read in the application, and I don't know if anybody can enlighten me on this, but it was talking about, was there provision for waste collection? And it said no. And I thought, what does that actually mean? Are they talking about they're not going to have bins on the site because there isn't room? I wasn't really very sure. Did anybody else see it? Well, that's what I thought. So, in other words, where on earth is all the waste collection going to be? Are we going to have 3 bins on the pathway? That concerned me. And I don't know, anybody else has a comment about that?
I don't quite have the same concerns about it generally. I did notice the car parking spaces that were presumably would accommodate the cars from the actual property itself. And generally speaking, with the requirement to build houses and the fact that clearly the owners own all of that land, and the house, from what I could see, isn't really small. My perspective would be, if they hadn't already started the work themselves already, just that would kind of be within their right to develop that land.
The people who live in that on the house, developers, excuse me, are not developers.
The developers own the land strip.
Own the property that's currently there as a rental property.
Okay.
So the developer who owns the rental property develop that extra bit of grass that's garden.
Is that not their right to do so with planning permission?
It is, but they've not got planning permission. Started on the job without planning permission.
Okay.
They then subsequently get the planning permission from Cheshire East. I'll hold my hands up and say, well, there's not a lot I can do about that. But the fact that they've started building and put the footings in without planning permission, I think
it's a bit of a gamble, isn't it, from their perspective?
it is.
Well, it makes a nonsense of applying for planning, doesn't it, really, if you're going to start doing that. And we've had that once or twice, have we not, in the last few months? It needs stamping on, I'm afraid.
I'll put the front door on. I've got a letterbox now. You can send them in.
Okay, well, does anybody wish to say anything further?
Yeah, can I just ask a quick question? Has there been any applications such as this previously, and how they were dealt with? Where somebody is building on their back garden because they got a large piece of garden, and if it was approved, I would say, shouldn't we be fair? But I'm asking the question because I'm not aware of any previous applications of a similar nature. But
Are you talking about this property in particular, or just generally?
Generally in Hemforth.
Yes. Right.
Bigger garden.
Says overdevelopment of the site, but
There is a similar development or requested, which is at the top of the hill of Delamere Road and Hilbury Way, where again he wanted to put a 2-bedroom house in a garden, and someone told me that I think there was about 50 letters of complaint and objection went in from neighbours because it is overdevelopment. I don't know what the latest state of play is with it.
there haven't been any letters of complaint on this particular planning. I appreciate what you're saying a little bit, Councillor Sampson, on the overdevelopment side. From what I can see from the map, it looks like this one is on a corner, and I would be assuming that if somebody's paying rent for a certain property with a certain amount of outdoor space, that if that outdoor space is being cut in half, that would make a difference to the lease arrangements and the rental price of that particular property.
Drive there with sort of they're now going to build on part of the area
where they park the cars.
So the 2 spaces are for both the existing and the new property.
All of those roads.
Okay, well, I think we've all said, unless somebody's got another point to make. I think people have made the point. We need to have a proposer for this and a seconder, and then decide whether we're going to support it or otherwise. So can we have a proposer, please? How do you mean? Yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, let's have a vote on that then, yeah? Refusal, yeah. But we need to vote on it, surely. Yeah, so a proposal to refuse the planning application. Yeah, may I have a seconder? Yes, we've got a seconder, thank you. Those in favour of that? Those against?
I feel like it's their personal right. It's your property. They must have bought that house a long time ago. And
No, they didn't.
Or whatever the situation is, their land at the end of the day, and they're within their rights. So I'm going to abstain from it. But
I think I'll abstain as well. I don't feel strongly either way.
In that case, then the proposal to refuse goes as our decision. Yep, okay. Just before we close the meeting, I know we haven't got notices of correspondence, but I just wanted to update you all to say that finally, ANSA have started the work in the South Wood to make it safe, because there are so many trees that have fallen over. They haven't finished, but I do have a meeting with Ruth Morgan to discuss where we're going, so that we can then get the new path in to allow a much easier route from Spath Lane and through there, through the wood and down to the school. And hopefully that's, I think, 16th or 23rd of this month. I will update you all at the next meeting. Thank you. Close of meeting is, I don't know what time it is. 20:56. Thank you.